Hello, welcome back to Mountain Home Marquis as we take you through the journey in building a mountain home in good old rural Utah. If you watch our first video, I appreciate that. There's quite a bit of snow up there. Stick around, we'll show you step by step as we go about this process, and hopefully we all learn something along the way. Before we move on, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, and we'll make sure we get videos out as often as we can. Going to try to shoot for weekly, but we'll see as we have enough video from the property to show you. So this week I'm going to give you a little background info on how we landed the 20 acres that we have. A lot of people have often asked us is how do you manage to get 20 acres? Anyone who lives in rural areas might think of that as very small. Anyone from an urban or suburban area, it sounds huge. So when we initially started looking out, we weren't planning on moving out to the mountains and being rural dwellers, as it were. But when we were driving around, we kind of loved the area, loved the look, loved the views, and were quite excited to do it. However, we knew nothing about buying undeveloped land, and we discovered that's quite different than buying a typical builder's lot to build a house. So when we first went out, we contacted various realtors, and we do advise if you're looking to buy undeveloped land, find a realtor you like and trust, and preferably one who's dealt with undeveloped land before, because it is different. We did take the letter method. Many of you watching may have experience receiving letters in the mail offering to buy your property. We did try that. We put a picture in with a handwritten note just to personalize it and realize that we were just a family looking to build our dream home. We're not a realtor or developer or even looking to profit off of it. And we did have limited success with that. We did have some landowners who did contact us, and we did look at some properties, but that was not how we ended up with this one. We had a realtor when we were looking around, and we discovered that this one was for sale. Initially, I discounted it. I was thinking it was going to be too much, and we weren't going to be able to afford it. But my wife chose to call, and it was interesting because the first thing we got told by the seller agent were all the problems with it. So, potential problems you can have with undeveloped land. There's a few. The first thing the realtor told us is gave us a list. Told us there was no right-of-way, which means access to it. There was no water rights on it. So in the state of Utah, let me backtrack a little bit. In the state of Utah, you have to purchase rights to use water, and water's rather necessary if you're going to build a house. So this particular piece of land had no what they call water rights attached to it. In a later video, I'll kind of talk more about water rights. They also said it was too steep, unusable, and it had been sitting for sale for a few years because no one wanted it. However, I took the time to take a look at it. I asked and I passed on the property, and the realtor agreed and said, sure, go for it, and found out there with no access, I ended up having to hop a barbed wire fence to get on it, and hiked around and found the property actually had a bunch of buildable areas on it, a bunch of flat shelves. So what I do recommend if you are looking at undeveloped land, don't discount any property until you've actually walked on it and looked at it. Don't just assume that whatever drone videos or whatever the realtors may tell you is completely accurate. I do recommend you look at the property. So after wandering around, we chose to put an offer on it. And after that process, there was some back and forth, just like any typical real estate deal. We managed to get a successful offer accepted, and that was the end of our search. Now, the purchasing process for land, for those of you who have not done this before, can be slightly different than buying a home. It's a lot shorter, a lot less paperwork. In our case, we were not doing what they call a land loan. If you do a land loan, keep in mind that most banks or credit unions will only approve those if it's buildable. What do you mean by buildable? It needs to have access, it needs to have utilities, and that would make it buildable for the bank, and they would approve a land loan. If you're buying in cash, the closing process is very short. It's mostly signing over the title to the property with the title company and having that recorded with your local government. In our case, most cases it's the county. So after purchasing the property, we closed on it, and then realized, well, what do we do from here? We now have land. Hey, great, congratulations. Well, what we found is that's great that you have land, but like I said, at least in this state, water is important to you. So we had to go through the process of water. And like I said, in a later video, I'll go over water rights and how that worked. But for now, we acquired the water rights, and that was the end of it. We've officially acquired our property. So I highly encourage you, if you're looking for a nice buildable lot and it's going to be undeveloped, again, find a good realtor with experience in this, and don't be afraid to reach out any avenues you have. One of the avenues we did approach is looking at the parcel maps for various counties and looking at properties that would be good potential. You'll find that there's lots of owners who sometimes don't care to be writing their tax checks every year and might be interested in selling without it being listed yet. So don't be afraid to approach people with properties of interest to you and see if they're interested in selling. You have nothing to lose. We did look at some very nice ones that way as well. So undeveloped land, again, it's very doable. It's different. You'll get larger amounts for less. However, there is some legwork to be done behind it. However, good luck if you take that route. But that's basically how we found our property. Appreciate it. Again, we're Mountain Home Rookies. Appreciate it if you'd subscribe, like, and comment below if you have any questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. See ya.